Hello and welcome to your tarot forecast for the full moon in Gemini 2022. So if you're new to these readings, hello, welcome. My name is Shea, or the Demisexual Witch, and I am here to cover the energy of the full moon in Gemini. So the way that these readings work is we have a collective reading that's happening on the social media channels, and we have some jumpers, but we'll get to that in a second. And then we also have extended readings that happen over on my Patreon, patreon.com/MichelleShea. And what happens is the general collective reading this time is going to be a 2-card reading for the general collective, plus a goddess card from the deck that I created, which is the Total Betty Goddess deck, a deck of 90s icons. You can find more about that on the link below. And after the general collective reading, we'll dive into the elements over on my Patreon. So if you want a more specific reading for your Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, head over to patreon.com/MichelleShea and join the monthly Mystic level for only $11. That also gets you access to the monthly tarot scopes and the weekly Goddess Rift/pick a card readings that happen over there. So without further ado, we are going to pick up the card that flew out of the Total Betty Goddess deck to find out who our goddess is. So we have 3 goddesses to pull out of the deck, and if you've been watching these readings for a little bit, you know that 3 is kind of a magical goddess number, so we are going to take all 3. So the first goddess in our triple goddess reading is Shea, played by Isabella Rossellini in Death Becomes Her. The next goddess in our reading is Peel, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar in Cruel Intentions. And the final goddess in our reading is one of the new cards from the Total Betty 2.0 deck, and it is Yemya, played by 90s Lisa Bonet. So we are going to take all these cards as sort of a combined reading. Rather than going really in depth into all of them, we're going to feel into the energy of them as a collective. And right now, looking at it right away, we have Hebe, which is the goddess of eternal youth. We have Peel, which is the goddess of sort of maintaining your temper and using your fiery energy in an appropriate way. And then we have Yemya, which is a very maternal healing goddess. So I feel like the gist of this is that underneath this Gemini full moon, we are being called to find a little bit of a balance between our youthful impulsiveness and our more wise maternal healing nature. So this almost feels like it's a bit of a battle between the 2 versions of our divine feminine. We have the divine feminine Maiden, who is very attractive and very youthful and maybe not as knowledgeable about what she needs to be doing or saying or how she should be behaving in the world, but she's offered a lot of opportunities because of her youthfulness. And then we have sort of the matriarch of the goddess energy, in that we are also being called to learn how to take care of things outside of ourselves. So the thing that's in the bridge of the gap between these with Peel and our goddess energy of sort of maintaining our passion in a productive way is recognizing when you are A, burning your candle at both ends, and not doing that. Know that nurturing yourself is also part of your maternal divine feminine energy, but also recognizing that the people in the world that are triggering you when you're in this less mature maiden energy are really speaking more about themselves than they are you. So this is a feeling of honoring the child in everyone that you're interacting with this week. Recognizing that we are all eternally youthful on the inside in a good way, and also in a bad way, that we all have this sort of internal child that's just struggling through and trying to find healing and trying to find the best way to go about living in this world. So that's the big message that's coming through here. I feel like we're gonna have a lot of interactions, and maybe this is a precursor to holiday energy and interacting with family members, but there's a lot of energy that's happening just in general, even in public spaces, out shopping. I see this happening all over the place, where you might find yourself triggered by someone else's thoughtlessness or a lack of awareness. And your internal child is going to feel hurt by that. But the next step for your divine feminine energy is to recognize that your inner child is feeling hurt by this person because their inner child is hurting as well. And taking both some of the pressure off of yourself to live up to expectations that aren't really about you, and also take some of your judgment off of the outside world that might be showing up in a less than divine energy for you. So see the inner child in everyone and recognize that we all have those inner child wounds. And a lot of times when someone is judging you or saying something that feels hurtful, they're really saying those things to their inner self. And that's really more of a travesty than anything that comes from that interaction between the two of you. So let people off the hook a little bit, but also let yourself off the hook, and don't carry those judgments around with you, because they really have very little to do with you as a person and everything to do with how that person sees themselves. So that was a lot for our initial goddess reading. We are going to dive into some tarot cards. Again, we'll do the shorter energy and advice for the general collective. If you find that these readings resonate for you, because this is a heavier, deeper topic, we'll definitely be diving in real deep therapy style over on the Patreon for the Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus elemental readings. So if that serves you, you know where to find the link. But we are going to shuffle up the Wild Unknown deck. I'm going back to the classic, my first deck that I started doing professional readings with. And we are going to find out what the energy and advice to go with these goddesses is. Okay, we have jumpers. We have 4. I am going to take all 4. So we do have a little bonus cards here. I'm going to take that the first 2 pulled are energy and advice, and the second 2 are sort of bonus information that we need to know as well. So the first card for our energy is the 2 of Cups. The advice is the 9 of Swords. And our 2 bonus cards, oh, beautiful, Temperance and the Magician. I hope you can feel the energy coming off these cards, guys. It's a very divine wisdom-based reading that's happening here. So breaking down the energy and advice, the energy of the 2 is the 2 of Cups. So the world is trying to show us love this week, whether it be that a new relationship is coming into your life or that everyone you're interacting with is an opportunity for love, is really the big message that I'm getting after our goddesses. But the thing that's standing in the way, the advice card, is to not let your own internal attack thoughts get in the way of that love. So it feels like we're very much in a self-sabotage space. And again, this comes back to our reading. Other people around you are also in this self-sabotaging space where we have a lot of internal attacking thoughts happening and we're projecting those out into the outside world. So recognize that you are doing this, but also recognizing that the people around you are doing this. So again, this isn't a space for judgment and for attacking someone. It's about recognizing that we're all human and that we all have wounds and we're all doing our own internal battles, and that is affecting the way that we show up in our relationships. So know that at the heart of every interaction this week is this 2 of Cups. People are trying to show up with love, and you are trying to show up with love, but it is an imperfect practice because of these internal wounds and triggers that we're experiencing. So just be gentle with yourself and others. Come into this yemya maternal healing energy where you are recognizing the need for everyone's inner child to feel nurtured. And again, don't come about this in a space of being a martyr and being a doormat and putting others before yourself. That's not what this reading is saying. But it is saying if you're feeling attacked or feeling like you want to attack those around you, if you can soften your perspective and see everyone that you're interacting with as a wounded child, that will hopefully help you to forgive them more quickly and to diffuse the situation a little bit better. And again, it's not your job to heal these people. It's your job to just hold space for the fact that they are more than their wounds and you are more than your wounds. So just forgive yourself for being triggered. Forgive others for triggering you, and allow yourself the space to be open to the seed of love that's coming through in these interactions. So let's take for an example, very popular cliche that mothers say the wrong things when they're just trying to help. That is what the energy of this week is about. It's everyone in the world is showing up with that slightly flawed maternal energy of saying something that's really kind of putting their foot in their mouth and not coming out the way that they intended it to. And it feels hurtful or it feels triggering, but at the core, they are trying to help. And so recognizing that and letting yourself not feel attacked by someone else's inability to communicate properly or someone else's projection of their own wounds onto you is going to be the way that you show up with love. So your actionable step this week is to see everyone around you as a child and treat them as such. Not in a condescending way, but in a very maternal and nurturing way where that you are forgiving of them for being flawed or not knowing enough or not knowing better, and allow others to do their own healing, but also recognize that they're mirroring back to you the things that your inner child needs to heal as well. And use that as sort of a projection of the love that the universe is sending you. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna feel uncomfortable. This week is gonna feel uncomfortable. The love that you're being shown is an uncomfortable love. It's an overbearing and offensive mother type of love that's coming forward this week. But there is still that seed of love. So if you can look for the seed of love in every interaction, you're gonna have a much easier time. And that is actually really possible because our pop-out cards are both really, really divinely aligned energy. So the key to this, dealing with everyone's humanness and inner child wounding, is to show up in your most divine self. And that means really dedicating yourself to any practices that make you feel balanced and connected to your own inner magic. So whether that be meditation, yoga, quiet moments in the morning with yourself and a cup of tea, whatever makes you feel centered into your own seed of love that exists within you is going to be helpful in showing up to those interactions with love and recognizing the love that's coming at you, even from flawed spaces and faces. So I hope that that reading served you well. There's a lot to dive into here, so if you're interested in the elemental readings, head over to patreon.com/Michelle Shea and join the Monthly Mystics. And if you are watching as a Monthly Mystic right now, thank you. Your reading starts right now.